Thank you so much for joining me for this yoga session. Hopefully things are going well in your life and you're taking care of yourself, you're staying safe and healthy. And definitely if you're doing yoga, you're taking care of yourself. So today, or whenever you take this session for your awareness is going to be moderate to maybe a little intense, but of course you can modify to your level at any time. I mean, even if you want to make, at all gentle or really easy poses, you can totally do that. I've got a yoga mat. You need at least as much room as a yoga mat. I'm sitting on a blanket for cushion. I've got blocks for support, and I do have a strap, and we're going to do a couple different poses, stretches with the strap. One for your arms and then one for your legs. So if you don't have a strap, you can use a big bath towel or a scarf. You probably don't want it to be too stretchy. Like a yoga strap is not stretchy. It's long, so you can use it for leverage. So keep that in mind, how the material is. All right, let's get started finding that comfortable seat, letting yourself settle in on your breath, taking time to unhook from all that's going on in the world and everything that's going on in your life as much as you can, and just be with your breath right here, right now. You might take a few breaths to feel even and full and deep. You don't have to force it. You just have to be with it, cultivating that observer, witness mind, setting aside the judge and the jury, and just being with yourself and observing. That means not labeling things good or bad. So when things come up in your awareness, you don't have to think good or bad. To just be aware that they're there, and you return back to the breath. You're breathing however feels comfortable, whether it be through your nose or your mouth or a combination of your nose and mouth. And start to build that 3-part yoga breath. So bring the inhale in and fill up your lungs at the bottom third, and then feel the middle third, and then feel the upper third fill up. And then when you're ready to exhale, the upper third releases, then the middle third, then the lower third. Treating yourself like a true friend. If you don't typically do that, this is the time to do that. Always moving with kindness, compassion, and love. Let the breath be full and deep as you fill up that lower third. Press that navel into the space in front of you. The middle third fills up. Feel the ribs move up and apart. And then the breath goes into the upper third. Feel the heart move up in the chest. And then you exhale, heart and chest relax. Ribs move down and together. And then you pull that navel back and up into your body. And then the inhale happens again. You fill up, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. So the breath starts and ends with the navel. The navel is where you started. The It makes perfect sense that the breath and that place are tied together. And when you find yourself distracted by your thoughts, return to that place behind your navel, in front of your tail, in your heart, or at your third eye. All places for your awareness to dwell in order to keep you on track and aware instead of distracted by your thoughts. I actually like to spread my awareness out between the three places. Try it, it's weird, it's different. Remember, you are cultivating the witness, the observer. Stay with the awareness of yourself. Press down into your mat. Feel that connection to the floor, the building, the ground the building's built into, and then the world that connects us all. So think about engagement, or actively bring a gentle squeeze to your glutes, press your knees away, flex your feet, and you feel that support, that groundedness, that rooted inness from within. And then on your exhale, lift yourself right up out of that space of taking up all that space around you that you are meant to take up. So think about engagement, or actively press yourself up, crown of the head, tops of the ears, closer to the sky, but notice that gentle pressure on the tops of your shoulders to lengthen that space at your neck. Still, you're breathing those full, deep navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling, chest, ribs, navel, breath. Feel the blades gently come down and tuck in. They're not squeezed together with a pinch. They are engaged and tucked in, so you're no longer winging out. And that movement helps to get that back body in that place to support that front body. So lift your heart into the space around you. So it is the sensation both of rooting down from within and rising up from within. You are trying to actively engage both of those actions all the time. That is what I'll be bringing your awareness to. I think it really does lend to a better quality of life. Right? Gravity is pulling you down and pushing you down. So you work and use your energy to lift yourself up out of that gravity. It is amazing. Not only are you pressing down and up, north, south, but you're also pressing right, left, east, west. So really try to feel yourself taking up all that space. You actually have, right, not just your body, but then that 3 feet around you that is all yours. Pretend my hands can go back behind, maybe yours can. But that 3 feet, pretty much your arm is probably 3 feet, right? That is all yours. Try to stretch into, and that includes up above the head, breathing full and deep. And then let yourself unwind from that seated position. If you're starting to feel tingly feet or legs, make sure that you move much sooner so you don't have those tingly feet and legs. You're really trying to avoid that. I don't think the tingly is too good for you. You're cutting off circulation, and so you always want to be careful of your, and those, you're cutting off circulations to your extremities, and that's your fingers, your toes, all that is so delicate. You've got to be careful. So you'll hear me also talk about protecting your joints, not just the delicate fingers and toes, but the delicate elbows, shoulders, knees, all of it, wrists, ankles, your head, how you hinge. So we're gonna start with that strap, and I've got it so it is folded in half. I've got a pretty long strap. I think you can buy these. This is an 8-foot strap. You can buy these in like 6, 8, and 12 feet. So that's another thing to be aware of, however long it is. So you might need to choke up or not. So it's going to be a reach in front. We're going to reach above our head, but I was getting ahead of myself. So reach in front. I've got my arms pretty well out there with not very much of a bend, but I'm still protecting my elbows. I've always got that gentle bend in those elbows in order to protect it. I've got my shoulder blades pulled down and active, and I'm just going to lower and lift this a few times. You don't have to be as wide as me. Maybe you want to make it so it is a narrow grip. You're not going all the way back. We're just lowering and lifting with that active shoulder girdle. And then let it come to rest. Take a moment, let that engagement go. Notice how you feel. And then back into that as wide as reach as feels good to you with those shoulders still engaged, reaching it above your head, and then drop down one arm as you reach. So you reach the other one up, and so I'm keeping my trunk and my head really still, like they're in concrete as I let those limbs move, getting that stretch now down that side body as well as that back and top. Go as many times, I don't count. So do as many times side to side as feels comfortable and complete, and then bring yourself back into that neutral position, inhaling and exhaling, breathing full and deep. Your hands can also show up at your body. And then another one, remember, you're always protecting your elbows. You never hyperextend those elbows. Let's see what happens if we twist with that strap. You might not go as far. You're as wide as feels good. Inhaling and exhaling, your gaze could be looking back, or you can be keeping it pretty neutral, and then you're just twisting. Try to find that rooted down, and then that lift, and then the twist. And then you're going to pause, hands come wherever. You can put the strap off to the side. Notice how you feel, breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest, exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. So if you have got something to drink, make sure that you are hydrating. And then when you feel ready to move on to your hands and knees, sorry, I got ice in my face, in my mouth. When you're ready to move on to your hands and knees, we're going to come into that child's pose. I'm going to use this blanket for cushion. So make sure that you are preparing your space so you are supported. And then walk your legs as wide apart as feels good. Reach those arms forward. I like to reach over the blocks. It adds just a little bit extra on the shoulder girdle. You may or may not like it, so act and choose accordingly. you're still trying to find that rooting down with your whole self, and then also finding that rise with your whole self, breathing full and deep. Really try to spread those shoulder blades apart, tuck them into so they're not winging out. Even if you don't have your arms on blocks, you probably still feel that stretch underneath your arm. Make sure that your neck is protected so your head is pretty much reaching out of your trunk. And then lift yourself into that stable table. Hands show up underneath those shoulders, knees come underneath those hips, and you engage. So you are engaging your girdles, you're pulling that lower back into that place of support. So it's pull the tail down, pull that navel up, and then you are doing the adjustment with the upper body, paying attention to not hyperextending those elbows, finding that place of support, and then moving through the cat and cow, with the cat and cow being more in the middle back with your upper and your lower back protected. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with that breath. And then find yourself done with that movement, coming into a neutral position to then walk those legs as wide apart as feels good, to once again press yourself back into your child. Try to keep your awareness either right there at your navel or at your heart or at your third eye, or you can even awareness at the very top of your head, at your crown. Inhaling and exhaling. Back up into that stable table. Make sure that you are pulling that tail down so you activate that low back and you've got that girdle in that place of support. That took me a long time to get that, and I had unnecessary low back pain for a long time, and I'm trying to help you not have that. All right, make sure that right arm is staying underneath that right shoulder. Keep that shoulder packed. Keep your hips square as you lift that left side. So you're keeping your navel pointed to the ground, but then you are rotating your heart up to that left side. Inhale and exhale. Keep that left arm, that shoulder engaged. You can bring that hand to, if it feels weird reaching up, you can bring right to where your tail would be. That's as far as you need to go. Keep trying to rotate the heart towards the left as you keep the navel pointed towards the floor. Inhaling and exhaling, and then bring that left arm down. Engage. You're pressing evenly once again through the legs and the left side and the right side, and then you are lifting that right side to the right. Keep with the navel to the floor. You're just trying to twist the heart away. It might not be a very big move for you, and that is okay, but stay with the awareness of the move, the heart and the navel rotating in opposite, away from each other. Try to keep your face moving in the same direction as your heart. Remember, that arm can be right where your tail would be, and then let yourself come back down. You unwind and then back into that child to completely reset. Breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. And then make sure you've got room. We're going to come into kneeling plank, so you might need to move back a little bit just so you don't come off your mat. And then let yourself hold in that kneeling plank. And of course, if you don't like kneeling plank, you can always stay in that table. So kneeling plank is with the hips coming forward, and you are holding yourself over those arms, breathing full and deep. We're going to move from kneeling plank back to child, or you can press up to puppy dog. That's where you bring your behind up instead of back into the child. And you can see I'm moving my hands so I come into a better place. Inhale and exhale. Remember, you're in charge, whether it is back into that child or back into that puppy dog. I'm kind of doing one and then the other. And then find yourself forward, coming down to the floor. Let those legs extend behind you. Find that pelvic neutral in this position. So you're always trying to press the front of your body up into the space, and you're trying to bring the back body down. Hands down by your sides. Walk the legs together so you have the insides of the legs touching. Your arms are reaching down by your side, breathing full and deep. Your face, it might be the only thing up off the floor. Just having your face and the beginning of your collarbone off the floor. The rest is pressing, inhaling and exhaling. Now we're going to stretch apart, but really you're going to lift from that lower body. Keep that lower body like it's in cement, and just lift that upper body up a little bit. So maybe now part of your chest comes up. If you want to let your arms float by your sides, breathing full and deep, you can always leave them down. You can also reach out in that great big T position. Inhale and exhale. If you want your legs to float, you are keeping the insides of your legs together, and then let everything float down. You can always turn your head and rest. Do a little windshield wiper. Inhaling and exhaling. And then back with those hands underneath those shoulders. Press yourself up into that higher cobra, or stay with a baby cobra. It's up to you. Inhale and exhale, and then move into your plank, knee down plank, to then press yourself up into your downward dog, breathing full and deep. And of course, you can always go right to just child. You don't even have to press into your downward dog. You are moving as much or as little as feels good. Really try to reestablish that connection of the balls. Keep lifting yourself up as you keep also trying to ground yourself down. Remember, it's both sensations. And then we're going to make our way to the front of the space, whether you decide to walk up, oops, I'm going to grab these blocks, or you come down to hands and knees and you step up. You're in that forward fold. You're finding that place of support with those blocks, or on a piece of furniture, playing around with coming onto the balls and heels, keeping those knees really, really bent. Keep lifting yourself up out of that lower body. Stay with your breath. Inhale and exhale. Try to bring your top front body to touch your lower front body. And then after a few moves, you are back in that forward fold position. Make sure that you've got that support. Press down into those balls and heels and back. So really shift the weight back as you lift up halfway into that flat back. Exhale, reach for the floor or the blocks. Inhale, shift back and lift up halfway. Reach for the floor, the blocks. And the next time you either come up in that reverse or you come up in steps, letting yourself come to stand up on those 2 feet, coming into as much of a back bend as feels good. Same thing here, you're trying to find that pelvic neutral while you're standing. So pressing down into those balls and heels so you find that connection. Lift those digits and spread them wide to come down one piggy at a time. Doesn't matter if you start with the littlest or the biggest. And then those toes just have a gentle grip on the mat. They're really not doing any work. You really want to find yourself somewhere between the balls and the heels, and that is both front, back, and then to the side. So play around with that. Keep lifting those kneecaps up into those thighs to protect those delicate knees, and then you are engaging framework and muscle of your pelvis. So you are dropping that back body and then lifting that front body, pulling that pelvis into place, navel dimples down, solid base, and then think navel dimples up. Feel yourself rise up out of that rooted inness you just did. Think about trying to lift that heart, pull those blades down and together. Find that sensation of pressing that tail and that heart in 2 separate directions, always at the same time. So you're always trying to find that support and then also that lift from within. It's all happening right in your middle, somewhere behind your navel, kind of behind your heart. Like in this part is your trunk. Nobody likes to talk about their trunk. No one likes to talk about their lower belly. Everything is super important. So you get zen with it and you figure out how your body works for you, and it seriously makes all the difference. From the top of your space, move into your mountain to then go into as much of a back bend as feels good, and then hinge and swan dive down to that forward fold. Find that forward fold, lift up halfway, flat back, come back down to step back into your plank, knee down plank, to then move into the floor. Try to move with intention. Keep those girdles engaged. Only lift up as high as feels good to you, and then move into the reset, whether it be up into a downward dog or maybe you just press back into a child. Stay with your breath. Move to the front of your space, coming into that forward fold. Take your time. Lift up halfway, flat back, back to the floor, to then come back up towards above your head, and then once again back to the floor. Really find that hinge. Lift up halfway, flat back, come back down, step back, plank, knee down plank to release to the floor. Lift on an inhale into your cobra or your up dog, and then your exhale takes you back into your downward dog. We're going to hang here for another breath and then make your way down to rest in child. Make sure that you are getting drinks as you need them. Inhale and exhale. Stay with that awareness of how you are rooting down from within and you are rising from within. Even though you're in that child's pose and it's almost like you're eating the mat, you are still looking for that rise. I know it's a resting posture, but it's still active. You're still, in fact, even when you're resting, you still have to hold yourself in a way that makes sense for you, right? You've got to learn in order to support yourself. You shouldn't be sitting around experiencing pain just because you think that's the way it's supposed to be. Oh no, That, my friends, is the most ridiculous. Let yourself breathe full and deep. Let your breath come to its natural rhythm. You are staying with that awareness of that breath, or someplace behind that navel, or someplace behind that heart, or someplace right there at that third eye. And you're staying with that awareness, not letting yourself move on to your to-do lists, or thoughts for the future, or thoughts of the past. You are cultivating that sensation and that connection, not sensation, but that connection to the present moment. But it's like getting zen with the sensation of the present moment, which a lot of times it's super boring or uncomfortable, and then we're always trying to, right, get out of it. But that's, yoga helps you cultivate that tenacity to stay with it. And that, my friends, is amazing. All right, downward dog or table. To bring that right foot up between your hands, we're going to come up into a warrior two. So you transition into that warrior two. Take your time. Find that connection. You're pressing down with that back body. You're lifting up with that front body. You're keeping that nice big bend in that right knee. That right foot's in front. So try to find the inside of that right knee, and then the inside of your left hip flexor, and press away. That knee, right knee, has a tendency to go towards your big toe. You're always trying to rotate it out towards the pinky toe. Pay attention to that back left foot and get that foot, that heel, a little bit further away, and then find the connection of the pinky toe side of that foot. You should feel even on your right side and your left side. It's all coming from your trunk, and then you are reaching those arms out of your trunk, not reaching forward. You're staying lifted up off the off your midline. Inhale and exhale, breathing full and deep. You are hinging here to come into your side angle, and maybe it's right arm on the thigh, maybe it's right arm down to the floor. I actually like, or the block. I actually love the block to press against that right side, and then I can open up that left side. I'm really trying to pull that right glute down. My hips, my girdle, my lower girdle is working on fire, and in fact there's a pinch on my right side. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with that breath. Make sure your stance is where you need it to be. You're going to lift up and then lengthen that front right leg to once again hinge into that triangle position. So you just hinged into side angle and now triangle. Keep trying to pull that tail down and lift those hip flexors, and pay attention to where you're reaching. Are you reaching over that leg, or are you in front or behind it? Inhaling and exhaling. Stay with that nice long trunk as you rotate into a runner's lunge. So you're bending that front knee, coming back over your legs. Pop your left heel up. You're back into a runner's lunge. That left arm stays right underneath your right shoulder. Keep trying to bring that left hip up. So this is where you're going to practice that navel going down, heart rotating away. And then bring that right side down to step back in that plank, knee down plank. Move right to a downward dog, or move through the flow. Rest in your dog for 2 to 3 breaths, or go right to your child. Inhaling and exhaling. Stay with your breath. I'm going to turn around so I can stay facing you. So we came up into that warrior two, and it doesn't matter how you bring that leg up, whether you're really fancy and swing up with one fell swoop, or you're stepping it up a couple steps to get it into that place that is the most supported. So you still feel connected as you then press down evenly in that back foot and that front foot, finding that place of support. Keep trying to root down and then rise up, stay lifted, inhale and exhale. So right here, it's the inside of the left knee, inside right hip flexor, spread them apart. We're gonna hinge into that side angle. Use whatever props you want to use in order to rotate and lift yourself away. Let the energy build. Everything's really active. Lift to then lift to then hinge again. Inhale and exhale, pressing evenly down and then lifting up evenly. So it's all the same. You should feel, everything should feel even. Everything's coming from the center, which it's hard to get, or it takes a while to get to that awareness. You really gotta shut down a lot of shit in your head. But like I said, it is so worth it. All right, stay with that awareness. I mean, that's what we're doing. We're practicing that awareness. We are rotating into that runner's lunge. Keep pressing back through that right heel. Of course, you can drop that right knee if you want to. Press down with that whole body and then twist that left side open. So keep the navel pointing towards the floor, and then you're going to step back and move through a flow or go right to a downward dog. Inhale and exhale. And if you go to, whenever you get to the dog, it's 2 to 3 breaths, and then you go to child again. Of course, you can skip all it and go right to child at any time. Let yourself completely reset. Inhaling and exhaling. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. You're still drinking water if you need to. Breathe full and deep. And then let's spend a little bit of time in pigeon. Doesn't matter. I'm going to show regular pigeon, and you can also do this seated or laying down. You're always trying to stay upright, so navel and heart over the floor, and then let myself lengthen down, breathing full and deep. Stay here for some breaths. You've worked up all that oxygenated blood. Pigeon posture helps to get deep, deep, deep into some nooks and crannies that don't typically get that blood flow. And yes, I know it's uncomfortable, but the more you practice it, the better it is it gets. Breath is full and deep. Stay with your breath, with that awareness somewhere in your body, not moving on to your thoughts or trying to distract yourself, staying with right here, right now. And then we're going to go through a reset. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Maybe you come up and send that leg up into that 3-legged dog again. Maybe not. Take your time moving to the other side, and remember, it doesn't have to be this way. Breathing full and deep. Keep trying to find that rooting inness. And then that rise, it's always happening, the root and the rise. And then go through a reset. Doesn't matter what it looks like, how you do it, if it's the same as the other side or if it is completely different. And then make your way onto your back. Make sure that you've got that strap somewhere close to you. I'm going to get a quick drink. When you get to your back, windshield wiper to start with. Trying to find that pelvic neutral on your back. That is always happening. And it's sometimes you need to keep the feet down in order to find that place where you're dropping the tail and lifting that hip flexor and finding that place of support for you. You should never feel pain in your low back. If you do, then bring those feet down. But if it feels all right, you can always rock and circle. Breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. And then here's where you'll, after a few circles, rocks, windshield wipers, whatever feels good, you're going to bring that to stillness and then find your strap. And we're going to start with the left leg. So the right leg is either extended or right foot on the floor. You're going to bring that left foot up to the sky, and then the strap is going right at the ball, not at your arch. The arch is too delicate. So make sure that you are going into the ball of that left foot. And then you can, like I said, lengthen that right leg down, and you are gently pulling on this strap. Keep those shoulders out of your ears. Keep that slight bend in both your knees as you let those left toes start to reach over your forehead a little bit. Inhale and exhale. Stay with your breath. Keep trying to press your right bun, your right glute, your right heel into the sky. Keep trying to press that left glute into the floor, or not the sky, the floor. The right side on the floor. Both sides, both glutes on the floor for sure. Make sure that you have enough room to start some with the strap. You're going to start some big circles. Doesn't matter which way you go. You're going in both directions. Inhale and exhale. Keep your both butt cheeks on the floor. Come back to that lifted position to then bring the strap into that left hand. Remember, you're not gripping the strap with death grip. You are gently clasping. Make sure that you don't let that right side lift up as you open that left side to come into that stretch. Press through that heel. Don't let the right side roll up. Inhaling and exhaling, and then back into lifted. Before you, I don't want you to move any further than just trying to press through that heel. Keep that butt down. Inhale and exhale. Press through that heel. Breathe full and deep. And then if it feels all right to you, you roll onto that right hip and bring that more into that spinal twist, but only if that feels good to you. And then bring yourself back onto that back, and then bring that left leg back up, and then take the strap off and let the leg float down, taking as many breaths as it takes, and then pause and notice how your body feels, how your legs feel, and then you are going to do the other side. So now we're going to get the right ball of the foot with the strap, not the arch. Press through that heel. Remember to use that left heel on the floor. Keep those knees nice and protected, and start with that gentle press. Keep trying to press the glute down as you gently pull on the strap to get that length down that back of that leg. And then if you do have your grip a little bit short on the strap, you might want to pull it off, and you're going to make some big circles. You are moving across the midline of your body, and then strap comes into right hand. Make sure it's the ball, and then you are opening. Keep that left side connected. This takes a while to find that awareness. Protect your knees. Keep pressing through your heels. Lift. Before you come into the twist, the right arm comes down. Keep that right glute down, and then just press through that heel, finding that reach across, and only if it serves you do you jiggle onto that hip. Try to keep that right shoulder blade connected. And then come back through center, bringing that leg back up. Let the strap come off, and then let that leg just travel down, meeting the other, taking a couple breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And then once again, bending those knees, starting with that windshield wiper, rock, circle, whatever would feel good. Letting yourself move however would feel good. I'm going to end with a little heart opener. You can do this with bolsters. You can do this with blocks. You can lay the block down so it's tall, and then the shoulder blades go right in the middle. And then you use the other block for your head. It just takes a little bit to sometimes find that perfect place where you are able to be here for just a few breaths. It can get uncomfortable and intense. The bolster, not so much, but the blocks definitely. Take a few moments. You've worked up all that oxygenated blood. Reverse how we spend our whole lives, which is the other way. Remember, you're protecting that low back. You want to keep pulling that tail down. You want to keep pulling those hip flexors up, that navel up. If you are in a position with that block, make sure you protect yourself, either lifting it with that old school push-up or using your hands, your arms on the floor, and then make your way onto your back, or decide to stay in a meditative position for a few moments in order to let this class get deep into your muscle memory. So if you've got 5, 7, 8, 10 minutes to spend quietly, and once again, it's not about so you can plan out the rest of your day or think about all the things that you've missed because you did this, or what you could be doing instead of sitting here. It is for you to cultivate that connection to yourself, and then spend time just being with yourself. It's that process and that reset time that we give no value to, and in order to be successful, you need to have that process reset time. So sit somewhere behind your navel, sit somewhere behind your heart, find that place behind your third eye. Namaste. Please take care of yourself, and I will see you soon.